You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead.
Same pull the trigger that killed your son, now masturbates to memory. Love you.
This is Aiden Fucci, a 14-year-old teenager who committed one of the most brutal murders in the Florida's history. His victim, 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey, a cheerleader and classmate who trusted him. On Mother's Day 2021, Tristyn went missing after being seen with Fucci. Surveillance cameras captured them walking together into a wooded area near their neighborhood. Hours later, those same cameras showed Fucci returning alone, running with something clutched in his hands. Tristyn Bailey would never come home. When police brought Fucci in for questioning about the missing girl, his behavior shocked investigators.
What you got going on? I don't hate you, Terrence. I know you demons take my soul. You demons will take my soul away. I know you demons take my soul. I don't know what's going on. What's going on? Why am I here? I just want to talk about your night. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
But instead of showing concern, Fucci did something disturbing. While sitting in the back of the patrol car, he pulled out his phone and recorded a Snapchat video.
We're having fun in a f***ing cop car.
Yep. Tristyn.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristyn, if you f***ing walk out the damn...
When you see this in a month...
This in a f***ing cop car, cuz. She's tripping, dude. And this so rifle on this bitch.
Oh my god.
God damn, dude has fucking flashbangs and shit back there.
He was asking his followers if anyone had seen Tristyn, the same girl he had just murdered. Hours after that video was posted, searchers made a devastating discovery. Tristyn Bailey's body was found in the woods, stabbed 114 times. 114 stab wounds. 49 of those were defensive wounds, meaning Tristyn had fought desperately for her life. When Fucci's parents arrived at the police station, detectives had to break the unthinkable news to them. Their son was the primary suspect in the brutal murder of his classmate.
They found this girl, right?
Where?
In our neighborhood, down our main street.
Is she good?
No,
No,
she's not.
she's dead. That's why this is very important. It's all on you right now. This is very serious, Aiden. You can't act like I don't know. I don't know. You can't, and you can't.
You understand this is serious? Clearly. You understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you say will affect you.
That Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not good at all. Now we have people wanting to burn our house down and our cars down because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media.
It is on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this, just for your well, safe being.
As the investigation unfolded, more disturbing details emerged. Fucci had told friends beforehand that he wanted to kill someone, that he would take them into the woods and stab them. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was premeditated murder. Police found the murder weapon, a knife with the tip broken off. That tip was later discovered lodged in Tristyn's skull. The cuts and bruises on Fucci's own body proved that Tristyn had fought back with everything she had. But perhaps the most shocking evidence came from inside the Fucci home. Surveillance footage captured his mother attempting to destroy evidence, washing the blood-soaked jeans her son wore during the murder. When police searched their house, they found those jeans still damp, hidden in his bedroom. Blood tests confirmed they were covered in Tristyn's blood. For her obstruction of justice, Fucci's mother was sentenced to 30 days in jail. The evidence against Aiden was overwhelming. He was charged with first-degree premeditated murder.
Having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristyn Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years.
At his sentencing hearing, Tristyn Bailey's family finally had their chance to confront the person who had stolen their daughter, their sister, from them forever. What happened next would become one of the most powerful victim impact statements ever delivered in an American courtroom.
114. Of course. This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. Did she see you coming at her with the knife? Or did you stab her while she wasn't paying attention? Did she scream out for help? Did she cry for my mother? Did she beg you to stop? Did you hear her lungs gargling with blood? What were her last words? Did you stay to watch her die? Or did you leave her there in agonizing pain as you ran away? How long did she suffer? Lastly, I would like to add my own stone to the 114 that I added for Tristyn. This white stone represents my trust in people, which died the day that Aiden Fucci chose to kill my sister.
I add this stone for the hope and belief I had in people being good that died the day that Aiden Fucci murdered my sister. My sister was stabbed 114 times. 49 of those wounds were defensive. Every time I see her use a knife, the intrusive thoughts of the damage that they can inflict is real. I can only hope that each one is a sign from Tristyn telling me she's still cheering me on. Yet they are each a painful reminder of what I have lost. I have convinced myself you are something other than human. I want you to think of your own siblings, your own sister. Just as I have lost my sister, they have lost their brother. At the end of this, you will be in prison. They will not get to lean on you for support. You have failed as a brother.
Aiden Fucci, your deplorable actions are unforgivable, and I will pray every day that you stay in prison for the rest of your life and never be able to harm anyone else in this world again. Your Honor, I plead with you. Please consider everything that he has done to our daughter and to our family. Please do not for 1 second think that he could be rehabilitated at any point. He is beyond saving. He should have to pay for his crime against my daughter. Justice is an empty word for our family, as it can never bring Tristyn back, but justice is for society. And he should have life without parole. Thank you for everything that you've done in this case, and I know that you have really hard choices in front of you. I'm going to be placing 2 rocks into this. This rock, this white stone, is for her sister, Sophia, who will never have the opportunity to be a big sister again, and you stole that from her. This last one is for me. And it represents everything that you have stolen from me. My words, my joy, my hope, my future, and my beautiful daughter.
While Aiden Fucci's senseless act of violence devastated a community, our next case takes us to Mississippi, where another teenager committed an unthinkable crime, this time against the person who loved her most, a mother who discovered her daughter's secret and paid for it with her life.
You, the jury, have found the defendant guilty of the crime of first-degree murder.
This is Gregg, a Mississippi teenager standing trial for murder and attempted murder. In March 2024, the then 14-year-old fatally shot her own mother, 40-year-old schoolteacher Ashley Smiley, inside their home. What led to this horrifying act? A mother's discovery of her daughter's drug use. Carly had been using marijuana and vaping, and when one of her concerned friends reported it to their own mother, word got back to Ashley. As a teacher herself, Ashley was furious. The moment they arrived home from school that afternoon, Ashley went straight to Carly's bedroom to search for the drugs. While her mother was searching, something unthinkable was about to happen, and the family's security camera would capture it all. Three shots. Ashley Smiley was dead, murdered by her own daughter. But Carly's plan didn't end there. After killing her mother, she texted a friend asking them to come over and see what she had done. Then she grabbed her mother's phone and, pretending to be Ashley, sent a text message to her 39-year-old stepfather Heath Smiley, asking him to come home immediately. The moment Heath walked through that door, Carly opened fire. But Heath fought back desperately. Heath managed to wrestle the gun away from Carly and immediately called for help. Realizing what she'd done, Carly and her friend fled the scene. When police arrived, they found Heath shot and bleeding, and Ashley dead on the floor.
What's the location of your emergency? What's daughter trying to do me? Your daughter tried to shoot you? Yeah! Stay on the phone with me, just calm down. What's her name? Carly Gregg. Carly Gregg? Does she still have a gun on her? I took it from her, she ran. You took it from her and she ran? Yes, sir. She what? She killed her mom! She killed her mom? Yeah! Where's the mom at? Sir. Okay, sir. Where's your wife? She's dead on the floor of my stepdaughter's room. She's on the floor in your stepdaughter's room?
Carly was arrested just hours later. At trial, the prosecution painted a chilling picture of premeditation and cold calculation.
Her daughter took a gun, walked across the house, pulled it out on her mother, fired once, you hear her mother scream. Fired twice, you hear her mother scream. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hear the third shot, ladies and gentlemen. You saw that awful picture. You saw the stippling. You saw what she did. That person has not been restored. She says, I choose fire. It is powerful, beautiful, and deadly. These are the traits I desire, so I choose fire. Ladies and gentlemen, that lady right there chose fire. She chose to murder her mother, tried to kill her stepdad, and then tried to cover it up. She told Brooke Wafer, her friend, that I put 3 in my mom and I got 3 more waiting for my stepdad.
The jury deliberated for just a few hours before reaching their verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder. Carly Gregg was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. At just 15 years old at sentencing, she will spend the rest of her life behind bars for murdering her mother and attempting to kill her stepfather. While Carly Gregg's crime shocked Mississippi, our next case became one of the most infamous courtroom moments in American history, when a school shooter showed up to his sentencing wearing a message for the victims' families. This is T.J. Lane, a 17-year-old who walked into his Ohio high school cafeteria and opened fire, killing 3 classmates and paralyzing another. But what made headlines across the nation wasn't just the shooting itself. It was what Lane did at his sentencing hearing. A display of disrespect and cruelty so shocking, it would become one of the most infamous courtroom moments in American history. February 27, 2012. Chardon High School, Ohio. It was an ordinary Monday morning. Students were gathered in the cafeteria before classes, talking with friends, eating breakfast. Then gunfire erupted. Panic spread instantly as students ran for their lives. Emergency dispatchers were flooded with terrified calls.
911, where's your emergency?
We just had a shooting at our school. We need to get out of here. Oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay, ma'am, we got a school shooting. Ma'am, what school?
Chardon High School.
Chardon High School?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is anyone injured?
I don't know. I just got out of
Do you have any idea where the shooter is?
He started in the cafeteria.
He started in the cafeteria?
Yeah, and he ran out.
Did you see the shooter? Are you a student?
Yes.
Okay, who was the shooter?
His name is Thomas Lane.
Lane fired multiple rounds in the cafeteria before fleeing the building. The school's assistant football coach, Frank Hall, chased him outside, preventing him from harming more students. Police arrived and arrested Lane just outside the school. By the time the shooting ended, the casualties were devastating. 16-year-old Daniel Parmenter died at the scene. 17-year-old Russell King Jr. and 16-year-old Demetrius Hewlin later died from their injuries. 17-year-old Nick Walczak survived but was left permanently paralyzed. All of Lane's victims were his own classmates. Lane was charged as an adult with 3 counts of aggravated murder. Friends described him as a quiet, withdrawn teenager who kept to himself.
He was just a person that, wanted to hide himself and keep all of his emotions in.
The kind of guy that, would sit by himself and just never bother anybody.
Lane came from a deeply troubled background. His father had served time in prison for assault. His mother was often absent from home. Initially, Lane pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, claiming he heard voices in his head. But after psychiatric evaluations determined he was competent to stand trial, Lane changed his strategy. To avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty to all charges. The guilty plea guaranteed he wouldn't face execution. Instead, he would receive life in prison. At his sentencing hearing in March 2013, the victims' families finally had their opportunity to confront the person who had murdered their children.
That child stole my baby's life, and he should never be able to do this to anyone ever again.
You're really lucky there's so many police in this room right now. You can smile all you want. My family will move on, not you. You have ruined your life.
He took the lives of 3 young men who were doing what they were supposed to do, go to school.
As these heartbroken families poured out their anguish, Lane showed no emotion, no remorse. But he had come to this sentencing with a plan, a final act of cruelty that would forever define him as one of the most despicable criminals in modern American history. He was wearing a white t-shirt with the word killer written across it in black marker. It was the same style of shirt he had worn on the day of the shooting. He stood there with a smug smile on his face, displaying his message to everyone in that courtroom. But Lane still wasn't finished. He had something to say to them.
Saying pull the trigger, the killer's done, now masturbates to memory. Love you.
The families, already drowning in grief, now had to endure this final humiliation. It was pure evil on display. The judge immediately handed down 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. In 2014, he briefly escaped from prison but was recaptured within 6 hours. While T.J. Lane's courtroom insults were deliberately malicious, but what happens when a killer smirks and laughs during his victim's family statement, then tells them he'll be home soon?
I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
October 2016, Ann Arbor, Michigan. 18-year-old Jordan Klee was a senior at Pioneer High School, a talented football player with his entire future ahead of him. That night, 17-year-old Danta Wright and 2 accomplices, 19-year-old Jermarius Ellison and 18-year-old DeLorenzo Gracie, decided to rob him. What started as an attempted robbery ended in cold-blooded murder when Wright shot Jordan in the back of the head, killing him instantly. The two other defendants would later receive sentences of 15 to 40 years for their roles in the crime. As for Wright, he chose to accept a plea deal, pleading guilty to second-degree murder, armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and felony firearm charges.
How do you want to plead to counts 2, 3, 6, and 7?
I'm pleading guilty.
During his plea hearing, Wright casually described the details of Chardon Clee's murder, as if he were discussing something completely ordinary.
That afternoon, did you in fact rob Chardon Clee?
Yeah.
And did you use a gun to place him in fear in order to take his property?
Yeah.
And as a result of that armed robbery, what did you do with that gun and Mr. Chardon Clee?
Shot him.
And where did you shoot him?
On the top. My head.
And did you kill him with that shot?
Yes.
When Chardon Clee's family would finally have the opportunity to address the person who murdered their son, a family member read a statement on behalf of Chardon's mother, who was too overcome with grief to speak herself.
I've lost laughter and love. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life. This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare that no parent should ever endure.
The statement painted a heartbreaking picture. But as this devastating statement was being read, describing the complete destruction of a family's life, Danta Wright did something unthinkable. He smiled and laughed. Court cameras captured Wright smirking, chuckling, and appearing completely unbothered by the pain he had caused. When it was his turn to address the court, Wright made a comment that would enrage everyone present.
I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say. You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
Discussion with the victim's mother as well as his grandparents and some family members. They understand that obviously this is the defendant who brutally murdered their son by shooting him in the back of the head. He's shown absolutely no remorse. He's written rap songs to other murderers about continuing killing, and throughout the victim impact statements today, he smiled and laughed throughout the entire proceeding. However, the Clee family does want to move on with this. They want to get some closure from this case. They want to try and forgive this defendant and all of his actions for what he did. And they are asking, as well as the people, that you proceed with the sentencing.
Despite Wright's disgusting behavior, despite his complete lack of remorse, Chardon's family wanted to move forward. They wanted closure. They wanted this nightmare to end. Wright's attorney then attempted damage control, offering an explanation for his client's behavior.
Your Honor, my client asked me to apologize to the court. His smiling was in no way meant as disrespectful either to the family, to the victim, or to this court. My client is 17 years old. He has some emotional problems and frankly was scared. And some people display fear by smiling. He really meant no disrespect. He does take this very seriously. It was never intentional. He never intended to hurt anybody. And I think he does feel bad about it. Now, at his age and in his condition, he may not be able to express it as well as some other defendants might, but he does feel bad about it.
Ultimately, the judge honored the wishes of Chardon Clee's family and accepted the plea deal. Danta Wright was sentenced to 25 to 52 years in prison for murder, armed robbery, and felony firearm charges. He won't be eligible for parole until 2041 at the earliest. Chardon Clee's family will never see their son achieve his dreams, never attend his wedding, never meet his grandchildren, while Danta Wright's smiling nearly cost him his plea deal. But what happens when teenagers turn murder into entertainment, filming themselves as they deliberately hunt down victims? Like in the case of Ayala Jzamir Keys, facing murder charges in Nevada. August 2023, Las Vegas. 17-year-old Ayala and 16-year-old Jzamir Keys stole a car and went on a crime spree. But this wasn't just about stealing. They were hunting for victims, and they were filming everything.
Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
The first hit and run around 5 in the morning.
Their first target, a 72-year-old man riding his bicycle in the early morning hours. They deliberately aimed the stolen car at him and struck him at full speed. The elderly cyclist survived and called 911. What he told the operator was chilling.
He ran me over on purpose. I was watching in my rearview mirror on my bicycle. Okay. He could have killed me.
He saw them watching him in their rearview mirror before they deliberately ran him down. But Ayala and Keys weren't finished. They continued their rampage, rear-ending another vehicle and forcing it off the road.
How you go? Go. Take me moving in. Stop talking shit!
Then came the moment that would end an innocent man's life. 64-year-old Andreas Probst, a retired police chief from California, was out for his morning bicycle ride. He had spent his career protecting and serving his community. Now, in retirement, he was simply enjoying life. Andreas had no idea two teenagers were about to target him.
Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
His Apple Watch notified authorities.
The owner of this Apple Watch has taken a hard call and is not responding to their watch.
The impact was devastating. Andreas crashed into the windshield and was thrown to the side of the road, completely unresponsive. His Apple Watch, sensing the severe impact, automatically alerted emergency services. But it was too late. Andreas Probst was dead, murdered by two teenagers. The video they filmed captured their laughter, their excitement, their complete lack of concern for the human being they had just killed. After abandoning the stolen car, Ayala and Keys went on the run. The video began circulating on social media, causing outrage across the country. A month later, both were arrested. But their disturbing behavior didn't end with their capture. In court, Keys flipped off the cameras. Ayala made obscene gestures toward Andreas Probst's grieving family members. The two laughed and joked with each other as if they were at a social event rather than facing murder charges. The Probst family had to sit there and watch these teenagers mock their loved one's death. It was a level of disrespect that left everyone disgusted. In late 2024, justice was finally served. Jesus Ayala was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. Jzamir Keys received 18 years to life. Because they were juveniles at the time of their crimes, they'll be eligible for parole consideration after serving their minimum sentences. While Ayala and Keys filmed their crimes for entertainment, what happens when family members and friends disrupt court proceedings? Like in the case of Maurice Thomas and Dontavious Butler.
Free time, freedom,
August 2017, Broward County, Florida. 3 teenagers led police on a high-speed chase through multiple neighborhoods after stealing not one, but multiple vehicles. News cameras captured the entire pursuit as the teens bailed from one car after another, determined to escape. At one point, they abandoned a Hyundai Sonata behind a shipping container and stole another car. Maurice Thomas and Dontavious Butler, both 15 years old, were taken into custody along with a third teenager. In court, the judge charged all 3 with vehicle burglary. Given the danger they had posed to the community during their reckless chase, the judge ordered Maurice Thomas, identified as the driver, to be held in a secure juvenile detention facility for 21 days. It was a reasonable decision, but Thomas didn't take the news well, and what happened next would turn a routine hearing into one of the most chaotic courtroom scenes ever recorded.
Free time, freedom, Get that off me, what the Oh, get the cameras over. Hush your mouth, I said it!
Multiple people shouting, dancing, and taunting the bailiffs. After the situation was under control, the judge called the disruptors back in one by one. In the end, 2 teenagers were charged with direct contempt of court and sentenced to 5 days in juvenile detention. The other 4 were released with stern warnings. What should have been a straightforward juvenile case turned into a spectacle that embarrassed families and demonstrated a shocking lack of respect for the legal system. After this case went viral on the internet, many people believed they turned the courtroom into a circus and that they received a lighter sentence because of racism. While the courtroom chaos in Florida was shocking, how does it compare to being torn apart by a judge in the courtroom?
Number one, so first of all, you're a statutory rapist, and now you're trying to save her from her dad that really didn't do anything at all, except try to be a father. You're the one on heroin. You're the one statutorily raping that little girl.
18-year-old Hopkins was in a relationship with 14-year-old Alexis Penn, statutory rape by law. Hopkins claimed he was protecting Alexis from her father, 54-year-old Charles Penn, who he alleged was abusing her. Using this claim as justification, Hopkins and Alexis conspired to set Charles Penn's house on fire while he was inside. Charles survived but suffered serious injuries. Could have easily been murder. Hopkins and Alexis were both arrested. While Alexis was ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluation, Hopkins pleaded guilty to first-degree arson. At his sentencing, Circuit Judge John McBain didn't hold back.
And you know what you're lucky you're not here for sentencing for? Do you understand what you're lucky you're not here for sentencing for, Mr. Hopkins? Yes, sir. What's that? It's called felony murder, which means if somebody had actually died in that fire, you'd have been, the only sentence would have been happening here today is life without the possibility of parole, and you die in the Department of Corrections.
The judge also revealed something even more disturbing. Hopkins had told police he wanted to kill Charles Penn.
And then you told the state police that, it actually said he laughed and said that he wanted to kill him since the summer of 2014. It doesn't say, I just wanted to get Alexis away. It said you wanted to kill him. Your own words. After multiple different interviews by the Michigan State Police. It's not up to an 18-year-old kid on heroin screwing a 14-year-old daughter.
Judge McBain sentenced Hopkins to the maximum 15 to 30 years in prison.
So I'm going to sentence you to the maximum sentence provided for by law. I'm giving you the maximum sentence under the sentencing guidelines. That's 15 years to 30 years. And frankly, I think you should get more. So Mr. Hopkins, you're very lucky today that we're not here for a sentencing on a felony murder where, I could sit and listen to a lot of things and read a lot of letters, and at the end of the day, I only have one choice. I got to sentence you to prison with life without the possibility of parole. I said, but you know what? You deserve the sentence you got here today. Maybe some people didn't think you did, but maybe they ought to draw on their own life's experiences and think about what you really did. And maybe if they did, and they think it should have been something different, then, well, that's what we have public proceedings like these for. So, courts in recess.
He made it clear he believed Hopkins deserved even more. Hopkins didn't just attempt murder, he also raped a 14-year-old minor. He'll spend decades behind bars for his crimes. These cases represent some of the most disturbing moments in courtrooms. Young people who committed horrifying crimes, and whose behavior during their trials revealed their true character. Some showed no remorse. Others smiled and laughed. A few insulted the families of their victims. Which case did you find the most disturbing? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more cases like these, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Justice may be slow, but it always finds its way.